Now I will request Dr. Iram Khalid, Chairperson, Department of Political Science and International Relations, University of the Punjab. The topic of her talk is community of shared future as a greatest synergy for building a better world. Dr. Iram Khalid.
Thank you so much. Respected and honored guests, my very dear students, I'm really grateful to Dr. Mehboob Hussain and especially Khalid Taimur Saab for inviting me and permitting me to present my very humble views in front of this very learned gathering. It is my first opportunity to share my views in front of Dr. Qamar Abbas Saab. In the past, we have shared our joint views in some TV talk shows, but here it is really a privilege to be the part of not only this gathering, but to present my humble views. So my talk of today is basically answering 4 questions. My first question is that what is our understanding of this concept? When I say our, that as Pakistani, what actually we try to understand this concept of shared community. And then what actually China's strategy, what actually we as a student of political science or international relations, how we analyze the Chinese strategy. Then being the Pakistani, I really want to highlight some very important points that what and how actually Pakistan can achieve or Pakistan can get from this very relevant strategy of 21st century. And in the end, definitely I will focus that what University of Punjab and what the students and we as a part of academia, how we can contribute towards this modernization process of China. So in a world of turmoil and transformation, humanity is facing really unprecedented challenges, instability, uncertainty, and definitely unexpected developments daily we are watching everywhere in the world. So during this situation, Chinese leadership introduced a program with 3 popular strategies, and they are rapidly following those plans throughout the world, like Global Development Initiative, GDI, then Global Security Initiative, GSI, and Global Civilization Initiative, GCI. And these all initiatives actually falls under this plan of shared community. So over the past 10 years, China has taken so many steps to move forward, not only to involve the whole community, and specifically they have focused on the underdeveloped world. Traditionally, as the students of history and international relations, we are familiar with the politics of world powers. They involve the world sometimes into the hard wars, sometimes into the cold wars, but we, the humanity, always remained under the pressure of the tussle of war initiated by the world leaders. But now in the modern time, China's strategy to involve not only the underdeveloped countries, but as well as to involve the whole community of the world to take part in such kind of initiatives to be the part, not only to be the part of development, but the opening up of the space for the growth of world economy. Many initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative, we all know, the opening up of the new technologies with the involvement of the young generation, and then definitely to facilitate peace talks and the de-escalation of tensions with the new models of dialogue and talk in the many areas of the world. Those were not familiar with such kind of initiatives. They were experiencing wars, tensions, traditionally. So these are the steps that China has taken to build a community with a shared future for mankind. What actually the Chinese strategy is? Number one, I think they are trying to promote working together to maintain a peaceful and stable environmental development and shape a better future for humanity. And for that purpose, they are focusing on peace as the prerequisite of the development. Then at number two, what Chinese are trying to promote, they are promoting working together to build a more vibrant center of growth to bring greater certainty to world economic recovery. For that purpose, they are initiating lot of developmental projects, not only in the developed areas, but as well as the underdeveloped world like Africa, like Asia, and we, the Pakistanis, we are the beneficiaries of those kind of projects also. The third very important strategy opted by China, that the world is a global village where the future and destinies of all countries are closely intertwined. So the many global issues, those are creating hurdles in the way of development. They are trying to approach those all conflicts and crises with extensive consultations. They are contributing and shared benefits to exercising through global governance. So this concept of global governance, this is very important and critical, and it is an area where we have to think, we have to try to be the part of that whole theme of development. The strategy number 4, that working together to pursue deeper and more substantive people-to-people exchange to bring greater certainty to interactions among civilizations. So this is again very important, that Chinese are trying to build a philosophy, dialogue among nations, dialogue among civilizations, instead of the Western thought or the US philosophy of clash of civilization. So it is again very thought-provoking and very good initiative that now our students, our academia, we are working on the dialogue of civilization. And this is the basic philosophy behind this concept of shared community. Because if we want to avoid any kind of conflict or crisis, then dialogue is the basic component. So I think this philosophy is basically a key route towards world peace and harmony. So if we think that we need to increase understanding and trust through sincere communication and properly handle disagreements and problems in the spirit of seeking common grounds, setting aside differences to create a model of sound interactions among different civilizations. A very recent example of initiation of dialogue between Saudi Arabia and Iran by the Chinese diplomatic efforts is a very important example of this very important strategy introduced by Chinese leadership. Then another very attractive point, that is the concept of modernization given by Chinese leadership. We, the students of political science and history, we are very much familiar with the concept of Western modernization, but again the Chinese model is very much different from that very particular kind of model of modernization, because the Western model is basically the combination to believe in the Western values. But Chinese model does not bother your values. They do not want to impose their social or cultural values. They allow the world, they allow the humanity, they allow mankind to practice your own values, but become the become the part of the peace process. So as Professor is discussing about the concept of democracy, so it is very much important that as well the Chinese concept of modernization as having the same characteristics, that now it is the need of the time to try to understand that alternate model of modernization given by Chinese leadership, and we have to be creative to analyze and try to follow the basic pattern of their model. So now my second question, that what are the key challenges to Chinese concept of this shared model for all human beings or all community? Firstly, definitely it is the time of propaganda warfare. So Chinese are facing this very specific challenge, that throughout the world there are the opponents of this very idea, important idea, and they are propagating negatively, and they are trying to create some misperceptions about this concept. Then I think how the Chinese academia and how the Chinese leadership, how they can counter this. I think according to my perception, there is a need to build a proper narrative, and that narrative can be built by such type of slogans, such type of literature, and such type of conferences as today we are talking about this concept. So this effort, this permanent dialogue can be helpful to build a proper narrative regarding this vision of Chinese leadership. Then again, another step that is again very important, that there is a need to have a counter narrative. What kind of counter narrative? That as US or Western media, they think that Chinese don't have such type of freedom that people can say anything. So I think there must be a solid and a constructive effort to build a counter narrative against the Western propaganda and Western media efforts. Then I believe, and we all believe, that Chinese strategy is having the soft power image. But this soft power image needs some hard measures. When I say that hard measures, then actually I want to say that they need some aggressive efforts to promote their soft power image. I think this is the Pakistani style, but I will pursue this, that their soft image needs the aggressive effort to be more popularized and to be the more, I think, to be the more familiar with the mankind and even with the youth of the countries like us. So now my third part is that what Pakistan needs from this strategy. Actually, I am not the government representative, so I'll not talk about some funding, about some aid, but I want to say that we Pakistanis, we are nowadays facing flood security issues. We are facing food security issues. We need people-to-people interaction in a more appropriate manner. We need development. We are facing so many development challenges that we need your models to be studied and implemented in Pakistan. For that purpose, I think social inclusion model by China and then China's local governance model. These two models are the real practicable models if the Pakistani government and if we, the part of the academia, we can try. With their professors, I think it will be a great help not only for our students but as well as for our professors also. Thank you so much. Thank you.